Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be doing just a general overview of the WebinarIgnition plugin. At this point, you should have it already installed and you've activated your license, and you should see it right here on the left-hand side of the WordPress navigation. Now, once you click on WebinarIgnition, you're going to see this dashboard. Okay, the dashboard is going to show you all of the different webinar campaigns that you're currently running. Okay, so right here you can see here's a test campaign, created it on October 5th. The webinar date is set for October 18th, and you can see how many people have registered. Okay, so you should be able to see that with all the different webinars that you create. Now you also have these two different buttons here. You can click on the members area, which will take you into the members area where you can watch the training that you're in right now. You can get your license. You can get any downloads. Then there's also the support area. Okay, this is where you can go and submit a ticket. If you have any concerns or any questions, this will submit a ticket into our help desk. Okay. Now, when you are ready to create a webinar, all you need to do is just create a new webinar. And it's going to take you to this screen here. Now this is going to ask you for just basic details. You also need to select between if you want a live webinar or an evergreen webinar. Okay, depending on what you select, it's going to give you different information here. Obviously, with a live webinar, you're going to want an event date and an event time, whereas with an evergreen webinar, it's just ongoing. It just runs ongoing. It's a recorded webinar that plays live. So you don't need to have a specific time, at least right there. Okay, we'll show you in a later video where you're going to designate when you want those automated webinars to run. For now, we're going to do a live webinar. I do want to mention we do have a clone feature. So if you've already created a webinar, if you run a live webinar over and over for different affiliates or whatever it may be, you can click on the clone feature, and it basically clones all of the settings that you had in a previous webinar. You may need to go in there and modify the time, or if it's a different time or date, but it will clone all of those settings for you. For now, what we're going to do is just run a live webinar, and I'm just going to give this a name, just demo testing, just for now. And also I'm going to put in a title. This is a webinar. This is just going to be kind of your headline, if you will. Whoops. And I'm going to put in my name there, and when you want the webinar to run. Now keep this in mind, okay? There is a reference here of your local time zone and current time. Okay, right now I'm in -4 time zone, which is Eastern daylight time, because we're in daylight savings time, so we're -4. If we weren't in daylight savings time, we would be in -5. Okay, and then it also shows the local time. So right now I'm shooting this at 11:46 a.m. Okay, now it should automatically select your time zone, your local time zone. If for whatever reason you don't want it to be in that time zone, just click the drop down and select the time zone that you want. Okay, now also keep in mind of daylight savings time. Like I said, I'm in -4 right now, but normally I'm in -5 when we're not in daylight savings. Okay, so for now, I'm going to have this run at 8 p.m. Eastern daylight savings. Okay, so that is all set. I'm going to have this run on, say, Thursday the 10th. I'm going to do my live webinar, and I'm going to click on create a new webinar. Okay, so now it's going to take you to the main campaign dashboard for this particular webinar. Okay, there's a few things happening here. Okay, the first thing is this is going to be the live webinar URL. Okay, so this is where people will go when they're ready, or when your webinar is live. Okay, we also have this master switch. Depending on where you have this toggled, this link here will redirect to either the countdown page, the live page, the replay page, or the closed page, depending on where you are in your sequence. Now keep this in mind. On the master switch, it automatically will switch over to live, okay, based on your countdown. Okay, so it's going to count down to 0 meaning your webinar is going to be live. So I have my webinar set for 8 p.m. on the 10th. Okay, if I go to this countdown page, okay, it's counting down 3 days, 8 hours, 10 minutes, and 30 seconds now. Once this reaches 0, it's automatically going to switch over to live. Okay. Now, once you are done with your live webinar, now a webinar could run 30 minutes, it could run 3 hours. We don't know. So once you're done with your live webinar, you're going to want to switch it over to replay. Okay, so that's the only thing that you need to do manually, and then hit save and update. Okay, now when you're doing your your webinar replay, there is a setting in here for when you want this countdown to expire. Okay, so say that I ran the webinar on the 10th, and I'm going to have the replay run for 3 days, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. So I want it to close on the 13th, and I'm going to click Save and Update. And so then when you go back, your replay page, now it's saying 5 days, 12 hours, 9 minutes, 39 seconds because the webinar is not for a few days. Okay, so you need to switch that manually, and then WebinarIgnition will automatically know based on when you want to close out your replay that it'll automatically go to closed. Okay, for whatever reason you want to override any of this stuff, all you need to do, so say you want to close early, I can just click on close, click on save. Okay, so as you can see, I clicked on that live webinar link, and it says this webinar is over because I have it toggled to close. Okay, so that is what the webinar master switch does. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, it'll automatically go from countdown to live. Once you're done with your webinar, you're going to want to switch it to replay manually. Okay, and then once it's on replay, depending on when or how long you keep the replay open, it'll automatically close it for you. Okay. Now, there's also some tracking as well, so it's going to tell you uniques and total visitors. Okay, and to each of these pages, the registration page, after they've registered, the thank you page, the countdown page, the live webinar page, and the replay page, just so you can track how many people are coming to your website. It also has all that basic information that we pulled in from before. If you need to modify it, you can go in and update it right here. Okay. If you want, we have two different buttons here. You can reset your view stats. If for whatever reason you're doing some testing, you can click here and just reset the stats. And you can also delete the campaign right here as well. Okay. Now I'm going to be going through everything else. We're going to have videos for each of these different tabs, but we've put everything in order so it walks you through a sequence. Now we've tried to pull in as much information on each of these pages as possible. So if you want to create a really quick campaign, you can do so, but we also allow you to make it very customizable. All of the colors, all of the text on the page can be customized. So it's very, very powerful, but we try to make it as simple as possible for you if you don't want to customize anything. Okay, there are a few things that you're obviously going to have to customize on each of these pages, and we'll go through that in each of the different videos, but it's going to walk you through, what design template you want to use. And keep this in mind that we're constantly updating this plugin, so we may have additional templates, or there may be additional fields that you need to fill out based on new features that we may add. Okay, so you'll choose your template. You'll have all of your registration page customizations, your thank you page, your live webinar, your webinar replay, all of your notifications. You can do email and text message notifications if you want to. And then there's some extra settings for people who are technical, and we'll go into each of those as well. I'm also going to be shooting a video for the live console. Okay, this is a really big feature. This is where this live console is going to be the area where you go to manage your live webinar. It's going to show you how many people are on the call, and this is where you go to manage your Q&A. And there's lots of other features inside of the live console. So the next video is going to be all about the live console. So just wanted to give you the lay of the land so you understand how this works. There is a lot going on in the background. There's a lot happening in terms of what can be customized, but I wanted to make everything clear in terms of how this master switch works and putting in just your basic information. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.